What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, as you know, we have received a new fighter which is Oswald, and well, this was like a shock for most of us because we were kind of expecting Silent Soldier Leona to come next, or well, if it wasn't Silent Soldier Leona it would have been Caddy Leona instead, but for some reason the developers decided to get Oswald earlier than usual. Now he didn't appear that early, it's kind of like a month earlier, but still he is a pretty big threat to you know, the people that don't get him pretty much. And well, he kind of like, he is at the beginning of a new era of API 50s because he does bring a lot of new stuff. So yeah, without further ado, today's character introduction will be for Oswald. Okay guys, now as you can see, Oswald is an API 15 tank. If you go through his details, you can see a pretty much good block rate and good resistance rate. Of course, the other stats are kind of mediocre. And well, his feature says Trick Master and the avatar of Sharpness. Now Trick Master, because pretty much he uses playing cards and he gets like a different set of cards, you know, the 4 sets now in every round, and each one of them will give him an additional buff. Of course, we're gonna go through them in the skills. And well, the avatar of Sharpness, because for a tank he does hit hard, he is a hard hitter, so yeah, that's why he can do a lot of stuff as a character. So starting with his fates first, the 11 protagonist team, we need Oswald and Ash increasing attack plus 25%. Play cool, we need Oswald, Iori and K-Dash increasing HP by 25%. And Old People's Club, we need Oswald, Tangfuru and Chin, I like this fate, HP plus 25%. So you can see the second fate is pretty easy. The first fate and the third fate kind of need an API 15. Again, it might be conditional, not all of us might have them. So yeah, we can just work on them to up in the fates with time. And well, his weapon called the Trump card, and he uses Dazzling Badge and Kickboxing Tone. Now his fight soul is called the Tricky Tortoise Soul. Its description says restores 40 rage when attacked, which is a characteristic of a tortoise soul, and get much rage at start, which is a characteristic for a wild bear soul. So he's a combination of a tortoise and a wild bear in one. Okay, now starting with his skills. First, his passive Trick Master increases own resistance rate and 20% max HP. When Oswald appears, he can draw 1 card and he holds this card for 2 rounds. So increases the resistance and max HP, 20% max HP. And well, I'm gonna just post a small picture about him. You know, above his head you can see 4 slots for the 4 different sets of cards. Now each round he can just draw 1 card and he holds it for 2 rounds. Okay, since round 2 he can draw 1 card and holds it for 2 rounds, so this starts from round 2. And upon round start, extra effects are added or vary depending on the health cards, sure to draw a new suit. So he doesn't have a chance like to draw a card that he already has, he always draws a new set of cards. Okay, now the 4 sets are Spade, Heart, Diamond and Club, of course. Now each one of them will give a specific buff. Now let's start with the Spade first. Recover 150 rage upon round start, and when rage is decreased, except for releasing an ultimate, he recovers 200 rage at once. So this is pretty good. He will gain rage at the beginning of the round, and even if somebody tried to decrease his rage, instead he will just recover 200 rage. So he is kind of like, he kind of counters the rage reducers, okay? So that's something new there. That's something not a lot of fighters already have. Now the Heart, he gets 54% crit resistance, that's very high, and recovers 13% max HP upon round start. Okay, so that's pretty much a defensive, let's say, set. Okay, now the Diamond increases 20% damage rate and sure to trigger the small skill. Again, this is an offensive set, let's say. And Club, upon round start, dispel all own debuff. So he's like a full package, guys. He is a full package. You can see he gets a lot of buffs. Now the thing is that this even gets better with gates. Of course, we're not gonna talk about gates in this video. Hopefully when all the gates are released, I might just do a small video like just to talk about his gates. But if I remember correctly, he can hold the card or the set up to 3 rounds and not 2. So he will reach a stage where he can actually hold the 4 sets together so that he can get all of those effects all together. Okay, so that's why he's pretty dangerous. Now, and also lastly, in round 1 he will get 25% extra ultimate resistance, and this skill's attribute only take effect in battle. Now this ultimate resistance doesn't like apply in generally, this only applies only in the battle, which is pretty good. He can get, it gives him a lot of tankiness also in round 1 as well. And you can see at level 1 he increases 30% resistance rate, and this can go like really high, so that's why he's really tanky. He is one of the best tanks in the game at this stage, maybe the best, actually the best tank in the game up to this stage. So of course his second passive, the card attack HP enhancement, increasing attack and HP. At level 1 it starts with 5% as usual. And his minor skill, the diamond, attack single enemy with 40% splash damage against nearby enemies, and all the caused damage does not restore rage. So that's actually something better. You know how the problem with, let's say, API 13 Mai was that she burns everybody and makes them restore rage. Yeah, actually this splash damage doesn't allow the opponent to restore rage, which is something, you know, done in a lot of fighters now. Extra effects vary depending on the held cards. Again, depending on the card that he holds, he gets additional effects. Spade, recover 100 rage for self and a random ally, which is good. Heart, recover 10% max HP for self and a random ally. Diamond causes 60% extra damage and causes slash effect, of course like bleeding or something, loses 8% max HP each round without incurring the rage restoration for 2 rounds to the main target. So it's like a bleeding, like Nameless's bleeding for example, but without causing any rage for the opponent. And the club, 50% chance to stun the main target and 25% chance to stun the nearby enemies. Again guys, a full package when you have all the 4 sets together. And lastly, well, his ultimate, Poker Flash, attack a single enemy and increase 20% attack and defense, and get the Shaman card. Now, effect. Now, what is this effect? Each attack will cause extra damage of 13% max HP for 2 rounds. Whenever he hits somebody, he will cause additional 13% max HP loss, okay, worth of 13% their max HP for 2 rounds. And extra effects again are there depending on the health card. If he does have the Spade, he will steal 200 rage from the target. And as you can see, the Spade is pretty much regarding rage restoration. He restores a lot of rage and steals a lot of rage. The Heart is mostly regarding HP drain or stealing HP. So here he steals 15% max HP from the target. Diamond is all about damage, increases the Shaman card damage by 50%, so he will deal, let's say, additional damage worth of 50%. And the Club, which is kind of like about control and clearing debuffs and stuff like that. So he clears the target's buff and a random controls allies debuff, which is pretty good. And after Weapon Awakened, of course, an extra chance is granted for drawing a card. I think after Weapon is awakened, he will have a chance to draw another card, if I'm not wrong. You know, it's not really clear from the description, but I think he will be able to draw another card in this turn. Okay guys, so yeah, that was it regarding Oswald's skills. Now the question is, of course, is he a good fighter or not? Well, apparently you got it. He is an amazing fighter. He is a new fighter. He is the beginning of the new era or the new generation of fighters of API 15s. He is pretty much a full package. He can tank, he can make damage, he can clear debuff, he can do a lot of stuff. I don't know, it's kind of insane, because he will be, in my opinion, he is kind of OP at this stage of the game. I kind of wish they left him, like they postponed him for just a few months. I mean, maybe because to give a chance for all teams to counter. But at this stage, guys, he is really good. So I do advise you to just go for him if he fits in your team. Now, of course, before starting with the advices for your team, front or back, now you can see in the Chinese server, some people actually train him in the back row. This is also possible because he does have a lot of damage. He can do a lot of damage, but again, he's a tank. He can tank well. His passive just increases resistance, so why putting him at the back? He can actually tank well at the front. So I would kind of like go front as a main position. Okay, if not, if you do have already a lot of tanks, you can just put him in the back. It's totally fine. Of course, well, what else? Esoteric stones you can use attack DPS tank or DPS or HP tank HP if possible, well, depending on what you want him to do more. Either one would be good. And yeah, well, what teams does he perform good in? Pretty much he is a solid tortoise, so in 4 souls of course he can be a good replacement to any tortoise you had. Of course now, because some people lately got Tong Fu Ru, I don't think, if you kind of like Tong Fu, I think it's okay to keep him. Because you know, you shouldn't be changing that much, especially in 4 souls. It does require a lot of changes in your team, so you might prefer to just hold on to your characters as much as possible. So if you do have Tong, I think it's okay to skip him. If not, if you're still using, like for example, Omega Rugal or even Mr. Karate for example, then yeah, Oswald can be a good replacement for them. Of course, Tortoise Genesis, I don't know how popular that formation is at the moment. I do have a clubmate that is using Tortoise Genesis, so he would be a good fit in that team. And at the same time, Wild Bear teams kind of need some tankiness and kind of like a sharpshooter, so he can fit in a Wild Bear team as well because of his fight soul. So yeah, I would expect to see Oswald in many formations in all the servers actually. So yeah, now lastly, just a tip regarding his runes. Which runes can be good on Oswald? It's kind of straightforward and clear. The best 2 options in my opinion would be, as usual, well, Protector Soul and Heart of Thorns. Heart of Thorns as a priority because he is quite tanky. Heart of Thorns will just allow him to recover more HP and you know, give him some damage reflect, which is something okay, but mainly because of the HP recovery. So Heart of Thorns would be good basically on any front rower. I do like Heart of Thorns overall. It's kind of like my favorite rune set, to be honest. And well, as a second choice in my opinion, you can use Protector Soul because it does give crit resistance and block, and you know, the more he blocks, the more he can, you know, reduce rage for the opponents and everything. You do know the effect. And because, well, Oswald, you have seen he does have a good block rate, so Protector Soul would be a good option. He can block more often if you use that on him. So yeah, pretty much Heart of Thorns or Protector Soul. I don't think you should use an offensive rune set on him because you do rely on his tankiness, and he does a lot of damage even without any buffs in attack. So I don't know, it does feel like more balanced to give him either one of those. Some people might just go for Earth's Heart, which is again another option, but I do recommend either one of those two, either Heart of Thorns or Protector Soul. Okay guys, so yeah, I think that was it. You know, everything regarding Oswald up to this stage. Good luck in the draw for the people who are going for him, and just let me know, are you going for him? What team are you building? And what are your thoughts about Oswald? Is he too OP like what I've said at this stage? Do you think it's kind of balanced and can be countered? And yeah, just post it in the comments below guys, and I'm gonna be seeing you in the next video. Peace out.